Well, welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I thought it would be a good video idea to talk about the comic book market for lady superheroes and female superheroes, and kind of focusing on the CGC 9.8 market here. And because, really for the last 3 years, collecting CGC 9.8 books pretty intensely, I think I've noticed a sort of steady price decline in a lot of sort of female first appearances. And I think it relates back to that time, going back about 3-4 years ago. I have here an Overstreet price guide, and I do really like the Overstreet price guides for sort of before the price guide. The Overstreet advisors sort of do their yearly comic book market commentary, and I always really enjoy reading those every year. And sort of my videos are sort of kind of inspired by that, and I've said that on past videos. But this one here is the 2016-2017, so it would have came out sort of early to mid 2016, and the commentaries in it are talking about 2015. And it's all Harley Quinn, Batman Adventures number 12, how females are starting to collect comic books, which is great, and ladies are collecting books, and girls more than ever, and Batman Adventures 12, Batman Adventures Mad Love blowing up, and a lot of just collectors sort of chasing these female superheroes. Like, there was a pretty big buzz reading some of the market commentaries during that time. So we're talking 2015, when sort of Suicide Squad came out and everyone realized they loved Harley Quinn, and then people were, some people didn't even know what her first appearance was because it was such an underfollowed kind of character and key issue. So that's really when a lot of I think the sort of female superhero hype started, and the books really took off in price. And then, I wasn't quite into things during this time. I got in maybe 3 years ago is when I was really intensely buying, and I think it was right near the top there of where a lot of collectors were just wanting female superheroes just for the heck of it, because they felt like they had to have it because they're reading in all these magazines, and the cool Suicide Squad movie that everyone saw just had everyone pumped up for Harley Quinn and other female superheroes. So that was then, now I think there's some opportunities out there. So I got a list here of 6 sort of female first appearance big key issues that I really love, and I've certainly considered buying. One of them's up here too, and is on the list. But for this list, obviously, when we talk about them quite a bit, there's Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, NYX number 3, and Edge of Spider-Verse number 2 is the first Spider-Gwen, first appearance of Spider-Gwen. NYX number 3, NYX number 3, first X-23, and then there's Batman Adventures 12 and this book. Those are some of those obvious first female heroes and villain appearances that are so collectible. So on the list, though, I think I got 6 that are a little bit underfollowed, and some of them are popular, but some that you may not have thought about that are great female heroes. Because, talking about the whole market, I think now, this steady decline, I think there's signs that some of these books are showing that they've sort of bottomed in price, and they're sort of heating up again, especially in the CGC 9.8. And they're just, when you consider looking back 3 to 5 years, some of these prices that some of these books were going for then, and now you see some of the completed listings now, it just feels like an opportunity, I think, on some of these great, female first appearance books. So, again, some of the more obvious ones you may want to look at, but on the list here, we're getting into some more underfollowed ones. So, most of them I don't have on the list, too, so it'll be kind of cool to get through a couple here. First book is an Alias number 1, with the first appearance of Jessica Jones. And admittedly, I'm not really big into the Netflix Jessica Jones series. I haven't even watched an episode, to be honest, but I know it's very popular, and this book is really popular. Yeah, checking out on the CGC census, there's 734 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for this book. 45.3% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded CGC copies, 45.3% of them are CGC 9.8s. So not particularly rare in the CGC 9.8, which is kind of expected for a lot of these modern books, but not too bad. Not over 50, which some of them are. The lower the better for the CGC 9.8 ratio. But Alias number 1, I think, this Jessica Jones show is definitely popular. I noticed that, and I feel like even though I don't watch the shows, you can gauge the popularity from just the reaction on social media and stuff. And even on eBay, there's quite a few of these with like a lot of offers. Like I was doing some research for the video. A lot of people interested in having this book in the CGC 9.8 white pages. And I can see why. Yeah, I think now the sort of Netflix series, I know really hit about maybe 2 years ago, maybe, or, was really popular in the last, but has maybe in a lull right now, cooled down. So this is one where, kind of goes with the general theme of this video, where it's probably a good time to buy price-wise. And yeah, looking at completed listings, I think $150 CGC 9.8 white pages is a really good price for this book. And I remember, like, mid-Netflix hype, when you'd see, like, podcasts on, no, Jessica Jones is the hot comic book, like that. Everything was over $200 for this book. I think it was, like, $225 would be, like, a decent price, $200, really good price back then. So it really heated up with the Netflix series. Now, $150, I think it's a cool first appearance to have. Yeah, Alias #1, first Jessica Jones. Next book here is a really cool one, I think. A really great cover on this one. Justice League #31. This is the first full appearance of Jessica Cruz. And I think the Green Lantern book, if you're familiar with Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern book of her first cameo seems to be more out there. Like, I'm pretty sure there's more on the census with that Green Lantern book. I forget the number, but this book came out in 2014. Justice League 31, first full appearance of Jessica Cruz, who's basically like the girl Green Lantern. And I really love this cover. There's only 30 in the CGC 9.8 of this book, with a really cool cover and a really cool first full appearance. This is one to get. I think this is one to want. Over certainly the other book, which I never really liked the cover, and it's a cameo. And but that book still, if you're a Green Lantern fan and you really like Jessica Cruz, you're patient on that one. You get that one for around $100. This one, though, Justice League 31 with 30 in the CGC 9.8, 66% the CGC 9.8 ratio, but not a lot of them graded. Like, there's just not a lot of these out there, I don't think. So prices for this one. A completed listing on eBay, the one I saw was $150. And I think that's like a good price. I think some of these are selling for over that. They're on the lowest on eBay right now is, I think there's only one on eBay currently, being only 30 in the CGC 9.8. And I think it's priced over $200, a little over $200. So if you can get this one for $150, which one did sell for, I think, about a month or two ago, Justice League 31, cool cover, first full, Jessica Cruz, I think is, cool one to want for sure. Next book for female superheroes. This is one that I've been kind of doing my searches, and there seems to be a lot out there, but they're asking like astronomical prices, kind of. But some completed listings have come across at good prices, I think. It's Invincible Iron Man #9, the first full Riri Williams, kind of Ironheart, I think is her name. And cool cover. I think the cover really wins on this one. I think a couple issues before this one was like her first cameo appearance, like not in the Iron Man kind of suit. But this one with the cool cover, the first full appearance. There's 248 CGC 9.8s on this one. So a Marvel book, a little more popular, certainly. And it kind of makes sense that the MCU has been such a hit with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I think it would be pretty like a smooth transition to just have like a female Iron Man come in, and I'm sure this book would do a little bit better than it is now. Still a wanted book, but 52% the CGC 9.8 ratio, so not particularly rare, but these are modern books, so a little bit less important. 248 in the blue label though, the CGC 9.8. So yeah, price-wise for this one. In auctions, I saw one go for it. It was just, I think it was in the 130 range, 135, I think it was. We'll call it. And really used to see these sort of selling up to 200, like maybe 180 would have been, a decent price on this, certainly, as this book sort of heated up. More so if there's like an Avengers movie out in theaters, this one was like always around 200. And I think it just goes that sort of natural connection with Iron Man. If people are thinking Iron Man's awesome and cool, they just think like the female Iron Man. But more to this book than just that. I think it's a really cool cover. And now that the price is kind of like, there was an auction there that it went for around, I was watching it and it went for around like 130, and I thought, I wasn't really into maybe grabbing this book, but then a couple weeks later I did, and I really wish I sort of went in on that auction. But I think, yeah, 135, 145, a really good price to aim for. If you really want the book, 180 maybe, but yeah, try to be patient on this one. 248 out there in the blue label. But hopefully you get it under 200. But I think it's one to want. It's a cool cover, and I think it's just a pretty desirable book. Yeah, and I really like the cover. Next book, too, is one that's cooled off. All New Wolverine #2. The first Gabby, Honey Badger. Kind of like the first actual Wolverine, like female Wolverine that looks like Wolverine, kind of. Because X-23 was, but she had her own thing kind of going on, so. But first, Gabby. There's 517 CGC 9, but this is one I don't have. And I've seen some juicy prices for auctions for this one, too. Certainly that I haven't, again, yeah, with this whole theme of this video was like, some of these auctions coming through were way less than what a lot of the prices were in the last, 3 years, with some of these female superheroes. 517 CGC 9.8 in the blue label, 76% the CGC 9.8 ratio, so this one not really rare at all, so you don't really want to pay up too much, for this one, with it not being that rare in the 9.8 and with there being 517. And yeah, I saw an auction go for it. It was like $92 in the CGC 9.8 for this book in the first print, kind of the normal first print. So $100 we'll call it. I think is a good deal for this book. And again, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw some of these going for over 200 when, it was just so natural for collectors, maybe a year or two ago to just get anything Wolverine. So like the first female Wolverine, NYX #3 is another book that has really cooled off when you look at like a 3 to 5 year time frame in the CGC 9.8. But this book around $100 or under $100 is now, one to look at. And that's kind of the theme of the video for sure. Next one, a Batman 567. So one I got here in the CGC 9.8. And this is the first appearance of the new Batgirl, Cassandra Cain. And she kind of appeared in the Birds of Prey movie as sort of a younger kid, I think it was. I didn't see the movie, but that's what I read. And, but I really like this cover, and look on the census for Batman 567. Yeah, really collectible cover, though, I really do. It grows on you, and you just learn to like this book a lot more. 168 CGC 9.8s out there, so one of 168 collector item, and that's one of the things I always love about DC books. Like, it just seems that, for some of these key issues that are like the first Batgirl, like in Marvel, there would be like 500 of them, or 700, but 168 for the first new Batgirl, I think is not very many out there in the CGC 9.8, so good collector item. 31.9% CGC 9.8 ratio. For a 1999 book, that is pretty rare, actually. Yeah, I was surprised to see that. So, yeah, you could kind of understand with that maybe lower CGC 9.8 ratio, and maybe 3-4 years ago, they're being closer to 100 of these in the CGC 9.8. This really got up there in price, I think. And now, you see some of these like juicy, completed listing auctions. I was kind of lucky. I got mine sort of near the end, before it kind of maybe took its last dive down here in price. But yeah, talking about price. Right now, I think a good deal for this is right around 150. Like most of these auctions are, yeah, sort of in the 150 to 175 range, depending on how good the scans look, the pictures look of the book and everything. But if it looks really good, yeah, I would consider paying up to 175. I bought mine about a year ago now, maybe a little longer now. And it was like 202 or something like that, 203. And at that time I was like, that's a pretty good deal. I'd seen at that point there was like maybe a couple dipping under 200 every now and then for like 189, 99, but a lot of them at that point, again, in this past history here, were going for 250, 300 for this book, even in the CGC 9.8 for a while there. So this is another one that I think it was, sort of a beneficiary back then of just collectors going, I need anything, whether they liked it or not, they just wanted to buy female superhero first appearances. Really, and it was happening at sort of a breakneck pace, like three years ago, sort of based on all the hype coming off of that movie. So yeah, I think that sort of bubble was maybe that peak was about 3 years ago, the bubble, and it's certainly popped, I think. And a couple books fall in there. Take a second to get them up. But Batman 567. With, just, 168 out there in the CGC 9.8, not too many of them. Cool cover, first Batgirl. Cassandra Cain's like in the Birds of Prey, maybe she becomes older in some other movies moving forward here and is a bigger character, but if that doesn't happen, though, again, with the pricing history here, you're getting this at a good price compared to people that bought it, like me, 2 years or 3 years ago. Me buying it for over $200. You could get this for, be patient, around $150, $160, I think would be a good price in the CGC 9.8. Last book here is definitely one that used to be way more expensive. Avenging Spider-Man, number 9. And I do remember when the sort of hype and some of the announcements for Captain Marvel came out, and it was like Carol Danvers was going to be a female Captain Marvel, and it was Carol Danvers, and this book really blew up, and it's the first Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. Avenging Spider-Man number 9, 829 CGC 9.8. So this is the most popular book, I would think, on the list here, because 829 CGC 9.8 is out there in the blue label, so quite a lot of them. 47% the CGC 9.8 ratio, so just under 50. 47% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8, so not particularly rare or anything, whereas like Batman 567 was 31.9%, so more rare for a Batman 567. But a little bit of an older book, it's kind of apples to oranges there maybe, but Avenging Spider-Man number 9, price-wise, seeing a couple completed listings here, sort of 170, 180, and I'm pretty sure, 3-4 months ago, I really was noticing some lulls to like around 150 in this book, like you could have grabbed it for about 150, but it seems to, the most of the recent completed listings kind of like 175 to 200, let's call it. And I think that's a really great book. This is one that was over 300. Yeah, this went over 300. I can remember some of the auctions, and I just felt, even back then, I felt like it was, wow, like this probably won't last too long. Even being a bit of an amateur back then at buying these CGC 9.8s. But over 300, I think, in the CGC 9.8, I think many had went for just during the Captain Marvel movie and based on some of the announcements and everything, where it kind of went from nothing to the hottest book to have. So that's a list there, and I will have the list in the description below of like all the comics on the list, and but the general theme of this video definitely is certainly have noticed the steady sort of declines in the CGC 9.8s of a lot of these female first appearances, but I think right now is an opportunity. I think it's that initial burst up was sort of how usually things work. There's that initial pop and then things lull down. But the long-term potential of a lot of these female first appearances, I think, is great. And again, our list kind of focused on some underfollowed ones, but you don't want to overlook like Batman Harley Quinn, Batman Adventures 12, Batman Adventures Mad Love, NYX number 3, and Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. Those are like, with first Spider-Gwen and all those great first appearances. Those are ones you don't want to look over. But concluding up, we'll go with some top picks. I really like Justice League 31. I just like the cover, and then the fact there's only 30 in the CGC 9.8, and then, usually when I like something a lot personally for some reason, and then there's like not that much on the census, plus it's a first full appearance of Jessica Cruz, which, I mean, if she was on screen, this book would just absolutely blow up with only 30 out there. So a very desirable book. I think Justice League 31 may be worth hunting if you're a huge Green Lantern fan in the CGC 9.8. Batman 567, pretty low CGC 9.8 ratio, pretty nice rarity, but it's still like 150, 160. Like that's a good combo. And I think there's like a lull after this Birds of Prey movie in the popularity that will probably have very attractive prices because of that. So I like Batman 567. Invincible Iron Man number 9. Is one like in the last month here. I've been like searching off and on and like hoping for an auction maybe in Canada or something and a really good deal to pop up, because it is just one I really like the cover and one to want. Avenging Spider-Man number 9, I just remember that being a lot more than what some of these, if you can get that around 150, that would be great. Sort of 175, 180, seeing a lot of auctions are sort of a best offer, sort of negotiations go for around that price. And Alias number 1 too. I think somehow it's like still, maybe it's because there is a good lull that you might want to take advantage after this Netflix. But it's like under the radar, but at the same time still popular. Alias one with Jessica Jones. So first Jessica Jones. So I think that is a book to kind of want. And yeah, I really sort of feel myself like just sort of wanting that from like an opportunity standpoint. I haven't really watched the Netflix show, but I hear it's really good. Yeah, so yeah, and concluding up, like kind of in the title, is did the sort of lady superhero bubble pop or anything like, or end or something like that, and I think there really was sort of that initial rush, and it was kind of documented in this Overstreet guide from like 2015, 2016, and I sort of got in right around the top, and luckily I didn't really buy Batman Adventures 12 around that time or anything like that too much. Because, yeah, again, seeing the prices steadily decline, I think at this moment in time is an opportunity you want to take advantage of. Yeah, I think female superheroes do have tons of long-term potential, and I think that they were right to say that, a lot of ladies are now collecting comics and stuff, and I think there still is a lot, and because, like, yeah, good art and stories are, like, universal, and I think, yeah, these stories, now that they're being, like, put on movies, too, and, like, masses of people are being attracted to them and stuff, like these original books, they'll always be collectors looking back to the original first appearances in books. So, and yeah, these female heroes have some potential. So good underfollowed list. I think a deep dive into some female heroes, and yeah, certainly some top picks too. But yeah, hopefully you get some ideas. Thanks so much for watching. I think we'll wrap it up there for female superheroes. Overall, though, an opportunity, and yeah, you want to definitely. Even after this Birds of Prey, like Harley Quinn's popularity seems to be lulling a little bit. So just, I think, a great time to buy a lot of these books. Maybe Edge of Spider-Verse 2 kind of heating up here, I find. But a lot of these other books, I think you can get pretty decent prices if you're patient. Yeah, be patient, certainly, for these books. And stay on top of your searches, and hopefully you get a good price. But thanks for watching today. If you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8 and hit the bell to get all the latest notifications for videos, and add me on Instagram and Twitter too. Yeah, I'll have all the links in the description below. A list of all the comic books in the CGC 9.8 books we talked about in the description below as well. Yeah, thanks so much for watching today. Some cool ideas for sure today to think about, and yeah, really liking that Justice League 31 cover with Batman on it too, with the cool Jessica Cruz pin-up. But we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.